They lost in double overtime in Salt Lake City last night. The next night, they go to Denver and beat the Nuggets, who were undefeated at home coming into the game. I don't know what to say. I don't think anyone knows truly who these Chicago Bulls are. I saw an Instagram comment that was like, even Newton couldn't figure these guys out. And I agree. I don't know what to say. This team is ridiculous, and we're here for the ride, and they're going to put us through all kinds of ups and downs this season, between what the Bears have been doing the last few weeks and now what the Bulls have been doing in their last few games. It's been a wild roller coaster for a Chicago sports fan lately. But let's recap the last couple of games, give a little pulse check where the Bulls are at. We'll do a little bit more about the Nuggets game for sure, because that one was a little bit more fun, but a lot of good stuff to talk about from the Jazz game too, especially when it comes to Coby White. Before we get to that though, Bulls win in Denver, and the story of this game is absolutely the bench. When I tell you the bench points, it's going to make you, oh, we don't have it here. ESPN doesn't have the bench points. I don't care for that. 66 bench points for the Bulls versus 9 bench points for the Nuggets. I think that kind of tells you the story. When we look at the box score, you can see every single Bulls starter was in negative double digits on the plus minus. Every single Bulls bench player was, almost every single one was in double digits, but they were all positive. Dosunmu plus 25 in 21 minutes. Sorry, plus 25 in 26 minutes off of the bench. 21 points, 8 for 9 from the field. Jevon Carter off the bench with 15 points, 5 for 10 from 3. Little plus 20 on the box score for him. And then Jalen Smith. Is Jalen Smith the best basketball player in the universe? Because many people are talking about this. Jalen Smith took Nikola Jokic on many points in this game. Vucevic was struggling. He looked tired coming off of the back-to-back. Jokic was giving him some work. They brought Jalen Smith in, and Jalen Smith was able to answer that call. You're never going to stop Jokic. You're never going to stop him entirely. He is the best basketball player in the world right now. And Jalen Smith, man, came in and was making his life a little bit harder. We'll get to the tape in a minute, but I also want to give shout outs to Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips. Dalen Terry, a plus 18 on the box score in 18 minutes, and then Phillips plus 8 in 11 minutes. Both of them came in and provided clutch defensive minutes. Truly, the bench won this game true and through. And it makes sense, right? You lean on your bench the second night of a back-to-back, double overtime last night. So you're going deeper into your bench, you know, like Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Jevon Carter. These guys have not played very many minutes this season. These are low usage guys. And still, here they are coming in cold off the bench and making a huge impact when we need them most. So, right, that makes sense that you're going to dig deeper into your bench and you're going to rely on your bench in this game. But I don't think anyone expected them to play this well, especially against the Nuggets, especially when you had a lot of staggering, a lot of Bulls bench players playing against Nuggets starters, to try to kind of keep things a little bit more balanced, because it just seemed like every time the starters came in for the Bulls, the Nuggets would go on in this big run. And then every time we'd bring back some of the bench players, the Bulls would kind of claw back in. And, you know, you saw at the end of the first half, Billy Donovan rode with Patrick Williams and Jalen Smith to close the half against Jokic, which makes sense. You need that height. Jalen Smith played some very clutch minutes down the stretch in the fourth quarter as well. And he was coming back in after getting injured. He got hooked by Jokic in like a post spin move. And, you know, he ended the game with like a pretty big wrap on his shoulder. So hopefully Jalen Smith is okay, because in my opinion, he was the MVP of this game. I know Dosunmu had the clutch free throws at the end to basically win the game, but I don't think we win. I don't think we're in that situation if Jalen Smith was not able to slow down Jokic, make life a little bit harder on the interior. Not only that, defensively, but he also hit some clutch shots. He was 3 for 6 from 3 himself. So Jalen Smith, in my mind, was the big reason why the Bulls were able to win this game. 2 steals, 8 rebounds, 16 points. You can see here him bodying up Jokic, poking the ball free, turns into a fast break. Patrick Williams gets fouled real hard on that play there. Here, taking him up in the post, bodying him up, making life hard, getting in the way of the shot, deterring the shot. That's what you got to do against Nikola Jokic, because you're not going to stop him, but you can make life harder for him. And that's what Jalen Smith did. And if you don't do that, Jokic is just going to go off. And he was. Jamal Murray, to his credit, had a really great game too. And it seemed like Murray was going to be the guy to beat us in the clutch, but Jokic is Jokic. And if you're Jalen Smith coming off the bench for the Bulls, putting up these kind of minutes against one of the best, the best player in the world right now. Here's Buzelis, good one-on-one defense on Aaron Gordon here. Modest had a bit of an up and down game, which has kind of been the story of his season so far. He started hot scoring. We all kind of said, okay, we've seen this for a couple of games. Modest starts the game hot. Can he keep that going? Didn't see him keep it going. But again, some clutch defensive moments and overall a team effort, as all of these wins have been team effort. You saw really good passing. You saw ball movement. You saw turning defense into offense. But like, look at these plays down the stretch in the clutch, like passing the ball, getting the ball out to Vooch, creating that shot, and then him canning it. Just absolutely draining it. Let's see. Turning defense into offense here. Using his hands. Now, he did get caught a couple of times on Jokic, a couple bad fouls there, and that's Vooch to be, it's going to happen. But the effort is what you ask for. And you see the effort. Io grabs the ball. No one's stopping Io downhill. That's how the Bulls win. This is how they win games, is by playing some good defense, turning that into offense, and getting contributions from up and down the lineup, from the bench, from the starters. And I think that was kind of the thing that we missed against the Jazz, was that well-rounded attack. It felt like Lauri Markkanen was on a tear last night, and the Bulls really they didn't have a Jalen Smith to come in and stop him. They didn't have that answer. And, you'd like that to be a player like Patrick Williams to come in and do that. And, they weren't able to do it last night against the Jazz and against Markkanen, but you saw it tonight. And players were able to step up. And one of the things that the Bulls were able to do was score a ton of points whenever Jokic wasn't on the floor. Whenever the Nuggets starters in general were off the floor, the Bulls were just taking it to them. So this is going to be the story of the season, I think, is when the Bulls play against teams that maybe have worse benches, but better starters. You'll see this kind of dynamic play out where, the starters kind of battle and keep the game close, whereas the Bulls bench kind of pulls away and is able to put some distance in the score. And that's how the Bulls kind of win. They let the bench do that. They let the bench put some distance there, and then they try like hell to hold on to it throughout the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And that's exactly what they did in this game. The bench came in and scored a shit ton of points. They played really well. The starters came back on the floor and battled really hard, but they gave up that big lead. They had like an 18-point lead at one point. They gave up that big lead, but keep battling. And eventually, they kept it close and they were able to close them out in the end. And that's going to be the story to their success this season. It's hard to ask them to play like this every night. It's going to be tough sledding. Like, this is not going to be a sustainable model for winning every single game. Like, you need to bring Coby White and Zach Collins back to have a little bit more, they bring different things, but Coby have a little bit more of that scoring / star power. Zach have a little bit more of that defensive versatility and physicality. But they brought it tonight. They absolutely brought it tonight, and you have to give them a ton of credit for that. Because that's kind of the gist of how I see the Bulls winning games this season. It is by stepping up to the physicality of the moment, and that's going to look different on a game-to-game basis. It's not always going to be the same, but they got to step up to the physicality of their opponents. They've got to rely on the bench to help them kind of bridge gaps or put distance between them and the opponent. If they're down, you got to bridge that gap. If you're up, you got to put some distance there, because the truth is the talent level, the difference between the bottom of the roster and the top of the roster is not that extreme for the Bulls. For a lot of teams, it's extreme, right? The guys who are on the reserve, the bottom of the bench, like those guys are night and day from, the guys who are starting. But with the Bulls, like, you have guys like Isaac Okoro, like Kevin Huerter, who have been further down on the bench in their career. They're starters. They're a big part of this. Obviously, the Bulls are banged up and it's not like they have the full lineup out there right now, but you see what I mean in terms of the talent level and kind of the distribution of talent. So when other NBA teams are bringing their benches in, the Bulls still have a bunch of guys who can start on other teams. Like Dosunmu could be a starter on another team. Jalen Smith, I would argue, could be a starter on this team at some point this season. So that's the advantage and the edge that the Bulls have. And like I said, I don't think that that's a sustainable model to win the finals or to make a huge run. But that's how they're going to win for now until they get everybody back and we can reassess what the team looks like when they're stronger and at full health. But we saw Coby White last night against the Jazz. He played extremely well, especially considering it was his first game back. Like he played well, just full stop in general. He had a good game. And then you add to the fact that it was his first game back, first game this season. And that's progress to me. Even though the game was a loss, even though it was a heartbreaker in double overtime, I see progress with at least where the Bulls are going in the last few days versus where they were last week on that losing streak. So it's not all going to be easy. It's not all going to be flowers and roses, but when you're at full strength, then we can have a larger conversation about like what is needed to take that next step. And I still believe that Coby White could be a part of that solution. And I think we need to see more of how this team looks and gels this season. Now, this all could change. By the time we get to the trade deadline, we could want to, move on from this and want to blow this thing up. And that's understandable considering where we've been and what we've been through as Bulls fans. Continuity, competitiveness, competitive basketball, whatever, staying competitive, remaining competitive. We want more than that, right? We want to take bigger steps than that. So that's part of the discussion of figuring out how you take that step. And I think at full health, you have a more well-rounded understanding of kind of who these guys are and how they play together. I still don't think we've seen the best of the Josh Giddey and Coby White backcourt. They played really well to end last season, post All-Star break last season. Kobe's played one game and he looked really good in that one game. But we still got to see this through. I think we still got to see what those guys are capable of, especially with how well Dosunmu is playing right now. Like the Bulls didn't even have Trey Jones tonight. Truly a whole team effort, a win by committee kind of game. And again, that is just how they're going to have to keep doing it until further notice, until we get a little bit healthier. And I think that was where I wanted to go next, was taking a look at some of the clips from last night with Coby. We went to 6 quarters. It's crazy. Just 2 overtimes. What do we got here? I want to see some Coby White. Like Coby drawing fouls, like this is something that you miss with him out. And it's an underrated element of the game that he brings. But his ability to drive downhill, get to the free throw line, slow the game down when things might get too fast. Like that's maybe Kobe's biggest strength, is his ability to change speeds, manipulate speed. And I am talking physically and metaphorically. He can physically change speeds. Decel is a big part of his bag, but he can also change the momentum in the game. And that is the differentiator between, a good player and a potentially great player. So Coby, in my mind, we still have not seen the best that he can be in a Bulls uniform. Like, look at this move here. He's going to go behind the back to draw the foul here. The bag is deep, folks. The bag is deep. That was going to be a bucket. He had to foul Coby. That was going to be a bucket. And then Coby has the clutch bucket to send the game to double overtime. The thing is, though, you could make a very strong case that Coby gets fouled right there. Markkanen pushes him. You see the hand on the back. Could have been an and one, could have been ball game right there. Bulls could have won that game right there off of this Coby White bucket. And I mean, we don't go to double overtime without him. We could have won the game because of him. And this is the vision that I'm seeing for the Bulls. Obviously you don't want to go to double overtime with the Jazz, understandably. But when you have a well-rounded attack, you have this kind of core that you've built of guys who play well together. The offense fits their strengths. Defense has been inconsistent, but at times you've seen the vision there too. And then you have the takeover kind of player, like a Coby White kind of guy who can take over and dominate when you need him to. And that was pretty much the recipe against the Jazz, was to keep the game close, fight hard, fight as hard as you can. And then when it's winning time down the stretch, Billy Donovan conserved Coby until the fourth quarter. Coby played more minutes than he was supposed to. He was only supposed to play like 20 to 24 minutes. He ended up playing like 30, I think, something crazy like that. So, like Coby draws the tie up. Like, it's not even just that bucket to send it to double overtime. He gets the tie up here. He gets the jump ball. He had a steal. He had a clutch steal as well. So all of those things, it's all of those things. It's the multi-dimensional nature to the impact that he has on a game. He is a very smart player. He's a very talented player, skilled, and that's still a ceiling yet to be explored fully by this team. We did see a flash of it towards the end of last season, and we all liked what we saw. So that's why I say, we had the losing streak. There's been an up and down stretch, but that was why getting off to that hot start, having that early season win streak felt so important, because we all knew there's going to be the downswing. There's going to be the cold stretches where it feels like the Bulls can't buy a bucket, can't buy a win. It's good to get some of those wins out of the way early in the season. Now you're bringing Coby back. Now you've got Josh back healthy too. He was hurt for a few games. This is starting to look a little bit more like what could be sustainable long-term with this team. We knew that the streaky, the win streak to start the season, we all knew that wasn't gonna be the same team forever, right? Like, we all knew that team was gonna change at some point. It had to. And this is the evolution here. This is what you want to see them take that next step with. You want to see Matas take a next step too. I think that's a bigger conversation for another day, to talk more about what's going on with Matas this season and, how the Bulls can maximize his potential. It feels like at times he has not always been put in positions to succeed individually. I think he is being put in more positions to help the team succeed, which again is understandable. That's what Billy Donovan's job is, to win games. So I know that some people want to see, Matas taking all of the shots, Matas getting all of the ball handling reps. I would love to see more of that too when he is ready. He is still so young. There's still so much time to add those things to his game. So I understand the emphasis on, making him good with being an off-ball shooter, making him good at being an off-ball defender for those times that he is not. To help this team win, truly, like to try to win some games, but also to develop those smaller things, those intangibles and fundamentals as an NBA player. I get both sides of it, and I think at a certain point, Matas has been given a lot of opportunities, and if it's not working, if he's not getting better at those things, even with the reps, throwing more reps at him isn't going to just magically fix that. There's more to that. There's a larger conversation there. But also just the fact that this was working. Things were working the way that, the system that the Bulls have designed offensively. No one guy takes priority over the scheme. And that's the flip side to a player like Coby, who can come in and just direct the show, because he's able to do that. He's cerebral. He feels the game. He has a good feel. He's a good player within the offense, but then he can also break that and do his own thing, freestyle a little bit. And we trust him to do that because we've seen how good he is at it. And that's what we haven't seen from Matas yet. That's why you don't see him getting the opportunity to freestyle or create as much. He has not excelled at that. That has not really been a strength of his at all so far in his career. But the flashes are still there. We're just going to have to see. That's kind of our little pulse check of where we're at right now. Bulls are 7-6. Definitely got to clean things up on the road. Finishing up this road trip in Portland, and we'll take it from there, guys. I am at Shy Sports Ross on all the platforms. I'm posting clips, posting memes, posting all kinds of stuff during the games, live tweeting. Make sure to follow me on all the platforms. I'm doing Twitch streams. I've been gaming on Twitch every now and then, so make sure to follow me on there as well. And that's all I got for you. So we will talk again after the Trailblazers game, which means we will talk again very soon.